The returns are reshelved, the horror section has been vacuumed, and all of our cardboard cutouts are facing east.
Great, but what is the rush? We don't even close for almost an hour and a half.
I'm trying to be more efficient with my time. At this rate, I'll be done working as soon as we lock the door.
Okay, that's fine for you, but we get paid by the hour. Are you just going to voluntarily work faster at the expense of your own paycheck?
Well, I was going to stick around and watch a movie before I clocked out.
Welcome to Rewind Video. I'm Bob.
And I'm Rob.
And we love movies. Good ones, bad ones, old ones, new ones, movies that are short, movies that are even shorter than short.
Yeah, incredibly short in some cases.
Yes. So, Rob, I went and saw the new Sam Raimi movie.
Really?
Last week. Yeah, I did. Send Help, in case people aren't up to speed on what he's been making. The movie is under 2 hours. In fact, it's 113 minutes. But there were literally a half hour of commercials and trailers at the start of the movie. Naturally, I spend like 5 to 10 minutes at the concession stand, going to the men's room. And then to and from, it takes me 15 minutes to get to the theater.
So it's an entire afternoon.
Yeah. Suddenly an under 2 hour movie is like an over 3 hour affair. And a big chunk of my day is gone. It's just too much.
Too much
Wouldn't
time.
you agree?
Yeah, you're a busy guy.
I am. Shifts to work, movies to shelve. So I'm driving home and I'm looking at the clock and I find myself longing for the days when you could hit play on a movie and be done without losing such a substantial portion of your day. And it just so happens that you and I are in charge of the old staff recommendation shelf here at Rewind Video. Our job is to pick 6 films that are deserving of our customers' attention. Each time we update the shelf, we adhere to a theme. And this week we're going back to a theme we've done once before, but for good reason.
Yes.
It is movies under 85 minutes.
Getting to the point.
Yeah.
We are getting to the point.
A favorite topic of yours.
Yes. Short runtimes?
Yes, short runtimes.
I just think we've gotten sloppy with the runtimes.
We have.
I am portrayed as a hardliner when it comes to runtimes. That is not the case. I just think that nowadays we make movies too long for bad reasons.
So I've noticed that when we start a conversation, you start the stopwatch on your watch. I mean,
yeah.
This whole fascination with runtimes doesn't bleed into any other facet of your life, does it?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. You're just doing that.
I mean, I'm constantly worried about runtimes of movies, 24 hours a day.
Right. Yeah. Cool. Well, the first time we did this, I found it more challenging than it needed to be. And I think I overthought it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, we also learned that you hadn't figured out how to sort movies by runtime on Letterboxd yet.
That's
and
true.
when you can, it's incredibly easy to find
Yeah.
movies like this.
This time it was really easy, and I think I actually like my movies for this episode more than I do the films I chose for the first under 85 minutes. Maybe
we'd have to. Well, maybe you should go back and compare it sometime.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah,
that would take time, and I mean, the whole point of this is that time is of the essence.
Yeah, an 85 minutes, like that's not even like. These are short ass movies. Like, to me, a 90 to 100 minute movie is like it should be the standard.
Yeah.
Even by like my standard, these are short movies. These are movies you can be like, well, I'm kind of tired. I'm almost ready to go to bed. I can still watch an entire movie before that happens.
Yeah. That's a great way to think about it. I found myself thinking as I watched all of these films, was under 85 minutes the right amount of time for these stories? And with 5 of the 6, I think yes.
Yeah. Okay.
There was one where I thought I could go for a little more.
I wonder if it's the same one. I have that opinion about one of our movies tonight. We'll see.
Okay.
But I think like the fun thing about an 85-minute movie, and I want to get into the movies in a minute here, but because I don't want to drag this out. Like,
Sure.
we're trying to get to the point here.
Yeah.
But the fun thing about an 85-minute movie, when you watch a movie, there's like a pacing to it. You know, it's like 20 minutes in, you get like the premise, and then halfway through, you get a twist or a resetting of the universe or something, right? The fun thing about an 85-minute movie is like once you're like 20, 25 minutes into it, you're basically halfway done, right? Like, because like once you're kind of on the back half of the movie already, or very close to it, you know?
I know that it can feel that way, but you're literally halfway done.
Well, you know what I mean.
I do.
Like, but the way the story works, the way stories feel, like a lot of movies, like once you're like in the last 40 minutes, it's like all downhill at that point.
Yeah.
You're so close to that point in an 85-minute movie. Once you pretty much once you start it, you're halfway through. Is what it feels like.
Yeah, for sure. And I think with most of our movies, you get to that 20-minute mark, and you absolutely know what's going on in the film. There hasn't been like a bunch of exposition that may or may not. We're not character building. We're just like we're in it.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
Yeah, not a bad thing. Well, why don't we dive right in? And as per the usual, your pick is up first for under 85 minutes 2.
Here we go. First movie I'm going to choose is fairly new. It's from 2025. It's called Jeffrey Epstein, Bad Pedophile. This is also known as The Onion Investigates Jeffrey Epstein because for algorithm reasons, you don't want pedophile out there. But
sure.
The real name of it is Jeffrey Epstein, Bad Pedophile. This is filed under What's Good for the Noose is Good for the Gander. Here's the back of the box. A mockumentary from the team at America's finest news source, The Onion, which chronicles the life and crimes of Jeffrey Epstein and associates, such as Donald Trump, who promised to release the Epstein files until he was told he was in them. Tagline...
Allegedly.
Tagline, forget everything you already know about America's most notorious dead person. So this is, yes, a fake documentary about international sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein and his best friend Donald Trump.
Yep.
It's produced by The Onion, which is America's leading satirical news source for decades.
Yeah.
Unless you count like Weekend Update on Saturday Night Live, but otherwise, like, there's nothing else that comes close.
They're very good at what they do.
Yeah, they've been around since the mid-'90s, early 90s.
Yes.
So it's like an actual comedy institution at this point. And it had bounced around different ownership situations for years. You know, it basically was turning into a clickbait content farm. There's a lot of slideshows, fewer articles, a lot of pictures, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then in 2024, they when it came up for sale, some investors stepped in and they wanted to take it back to being an independent comedy newspaper, basically.
That's not usually the trajectory.
No, but it had
when
already
investors come in, you know?
It had already been degraded to the point, like, there was still a good writing room there. Like, there were still people that had been there forever.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know if you remember it from 3-4 years ago. Like, it had been degraded to the point where it's like they barely got a chance to write articles or even a lot of headlines, you know? It was just things to get people to click stuff. And it was such like how much further could you take it? You know, it was like on the edge. It was either going to like turn into what it is now or just basically turn into a logo that they put on like dumb pictures, right?
Yep.
And so what they invested in changing the business, they print a newspaper that you can get sent to your house. But they also wanted to invest in video content. And they relaunched ONN, which is like a, video news reports, like a CNN version, and that's on YouTube. But they also produced this movie, which was released in October. So isn't this just a YouTube video? This is 20. The runtime on this is 21 minutes.
Very much under 85 minutes.
Very under 85.
Yeah.
Is it even eligible for the staff recommendation shelf? And the answer is yes, because it got a theatrical release.
did it.
It got a theatrical release. It was packaged with Sex House, which was a parody reality show that they produced like way back, like 2012. Like a bunch of like YouTube videos. They packaged all that stuff together into like a 50-minute thing. And they released it into theaters. And it was supposed to be released in some chain. I think it was AMC.
Okay.
That got cold feet and backed out at the last minute. Oh, wow. So The Onion basically released it to independent theaters for free. They said you can run this and sell tickets or whatever just to get it out there. And then they threw it up on YouTube a week later. So why do I recommend this? Like it's an effective parody of like 4 or 5 different types of documentaries in 20 minutes. It's got the Ken Burns moving photo effect, a lot of talking heads, a little bit of true crime documentary, some sports doc in there. And they get a lot of those tropes right. I love the tempo change that they do.
Yes.
When they're like the which happens in sports documentaries all the time, where it's just like, we're having fun now. Like, yeah. And like they nail that. They also do that when they go into the like Jeffrey Epstein is really cool segment.
Sure do.
This might be a better take on the Epstein story than what you'll get out of like a news channel, a cable news channel.
I found myself thinking that more than once during the course of these 20 minutes.
But that's usually the case with good satire.
Yeah.
And like the jokes, this is from October. This is, before the files and stuff were released. And the jokes are better now than they were then.
Yes.
Because like they they found a truth in what was happening before, like, before everyone was, kind of got all the information.
Yep.
Well, not all the information. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But I love a joke machine, and that's what this is.
Oh, it really
Simpsons, 30 Rock. Like, there's just like there's a lot of like comedy properties that are just joke machines, and that's what this is. This is just like 20 minutes of nonstop. Every line is a joke. There is not a non-joke line in this movie.
That's accurate.
Like, because why else would it's a 20-minute movie? Like they're not dragging this out. It's a 20-minute movie.
And 20 minutes of nonstop jokes.
Yeah.
is just right.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's not it doesn't feel like a sitcom. It feels like an episode of Documentary Now. Do you remember that show?
Yes.
And so it's a 20-minute thing, tons of jokes, nonstop jokes. It delivers. I would say like the hit rate is pretty good.
Oh, for sure.
One of my favorite jokes was when one of the talking heads said, the official story is that Jeffrey Epstein died peacefully in his noose. So I think if that's the kind of humor that appeals to you, I think you'll really like this movie. And the jokes literally go all the way to the very last line of the credits. To the very last second.
Oh, wow.
The last line of the credits says, "No adults were harmed in the making of this movie." Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But read all the credits. Every single line in the credits is a joke.
Yeah.
It delivers on so much comedy in 20 minutes that I'm recommending it for the staff recommendation shelf.
I'm glad you did. I was immediately skeptical when I saw the runtime before getting into it, but especially with the context you provided, absolutely worthy of a shelf entry.
Absolutely eligible.
Yes.
Plus, who's going to stop me? So, Jeffrey Epstein, Bad Pedophile, is rated 3.8 overall in Letterboxd. 4 users have it in their 4 favorites, 2 of which have 4 Jeffrey Epstein mockumentary/documentaries in their 4 favorites, and basically nothing else in their profile.
Oh, wow.
One has a slightly more robust account, but their bio reads, rarely I watch movies. And the 4th is user Cracker Killer, spelled with numbers, because that's how you would spell that, with Ks.
Yeah.
Whose bio reads that they're from Pedophile Island, and who only has 1 activity listed on their entire Letterboxd account, and that's a 5-star review of Jeffrey Epstein, Bad Pedophile, that reads, #NotMyPedophile. I have this movie at 4 stars.
Yeah, it's 4 stars.
It's fantastic, and so I'm putting it up on the staff recommendation shelf this week for the topic of under 85 minutes 2.
Well, we're only going to get longer from here, but I do
true.
love that we started with this one. It's The Onion. Just they're so good at what they do.
Yeah, they are.
And I think it deserves mentioning that this feels like a documentary, which is going to be something that it involves real people behaving like real people, but these people are acting like real people, and that in and of itself is a task.
Yes.
And to do that well while also delivering the jokes that are woven in here, it's great.
Being a talking head is difficult on screen.
Yeah. I think
because-
we've talked about like when actors try to play news people.
And actually, I believe we have. And we've actually talked about the talking head, the fake documentary talking head actors before in, I believe it was the Under 85 Minutes episode we did years ago, the first one. That was the time travel, the history of time travel.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is a hard thing to pull off because if you're because even if you're like a professor who's on those types of shows, it's hard for them to get that vibe.
Yeah.
And so then you have to fake the weird vibe that already exists on top of that. So it's a hard thing to pull off as an actor, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, all of these people, I mean, I don't recognize who they are. They don't feel like I'm watching actors to me, but they're acting quite well. So
Definitely.
Good stuff. All right, I'm going back to 1988 from the What a Treat section of the store. And my first pick for under 85 minutes is Dead Heat. Here's the back of the box. Detector Roger Mortis.
Detective.
Detective, what did I say?
Detector.
He's not a detective. He is a detective.
Yeah, we'll cut that.
Detective Roger Mortis is killed in action while investigating a string of mysterious robberies until he's brought back from the dead with a chemical company's secret reanimation technology. Now he has 12 hours to solve the case of his own death before he dies and stays dead. Tagline, you can't keep a good cop dead.
I did groan when they said his name was Roger Mortis. I was like, oh, come on.
There are no shortage of eye-rolling moments.
Yes.
But I think that the movie is intending to deliver. Yeah. So a little bit of background. This is directed by Mark Goldblatt, and I'll have a little bit more on him later. He's got an interesting resume. But this is one of those movies that feels like it was created using a bunch of handful of VHS era genre ideas and, seeing what survived the collision, just taking them and smashing them together. It's part buddy cop comedy, part zombie movie, part detective thriller with big air quotes around it.
It's very much formatted as the classic 80s buddy cop format.
Yes. But somehow all of these pieces fit together. And the two buddy cops, played by Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams. Treat is the one who literally becomes the undead partner after being resurrected mid-case. I remember the first time I saw this, not knowing, I thought it was just a buddy cop movie. I didn't realize that there was a zombie component to it. And when he dies, I thought to myself, well, surely he's not dead. But he's dead.
He's dead. He's coming back.
Yeah, he's coming back. And these two have some pretty good chemistry. There's a bunch of absurd one-liners, a lot of gleeful genre nonsense, so to speak, that makes late 80s cult movies so memorable. But Mark Goldblatt is actually a guy who's most known for his editing. So he edited The Terminator and Predator, which, I mean, nothing to scoff at there.
Yeah, definitely not.
And, I think that helps with the movie's tight pacing. The screenplay for this came from Terry Black, who is the brother of Shane Black, who wrote Lethal Weapon, as we recently covered, among many other movies, many of which we've covered here. So Yeah, Terry shares the same love for the buddy cop banter.
I mean, it's very much an entry into the genre.
Yeah.
It's a take on it, but it's not totally a parody.
No. They're definitely having fun with some stuff, but yeah, I wouldn't say that this is a parody.
No.
The other noteworthy element of this for me was the practical effects. There's a lot of practical effects here, and those were handled by a guy named Steve Johnson, who helped create some of the memorable moments of the movie, including the reanimated butcher shop sequence. But why did I choose this? When it comes to B movies, this is what I want it to be. Yeah. This is literally everything I'm after. Cheesy, hilarious, dark in the right ways, but also very like committed to its own ridiculous premise. I think Joe Piscopo and Treat Williams are actually really good together.
I don't know. Like, Joe Piscopo is one of those guys. Like, I'd have a distaste for him that I can't quite put my finger on.
Interesting.
But I still like this. Do you know? Like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's not quite the same thing as Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's something about Joe Piscopo that I want to dislike.
Yeah.
You know, but I liked him in this.
Yeah.
For the most part. I mean, there's some, it's not everything.
I don't disagree with you. I feel like the movies that I am not a fan of him in are more during the later part of his career. I mean, after this. But
he seems like one of those guys comedically has a hard time being self-deprecating.
Right.
He takes himself a little bit too seriously.
Yeah. I agree. Obviously, this moves fast, throws some pretty wild ideas at the screen. I'd seen the animated GIF for a long time of two guys just shooting each other with machine guns endlessly, and I had no idea what it was from until seeing this. And
that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that is just a tremendous part of the movie. So yeah, runtime is part of the magic here. Dead Heat knows exactly what it is. It delivers the goods, and then politely leaves the room.
Yeah.
So this flew under the radar during its initial release, but developed a strong cult following through VHS and late night cable. And part of that is because it's loved by people who are into practical effects and genre mashups, which is probably why it got a Vinegar Syndrome release. Nice. Yeah, so this averages precisely a 3.1 on Letterboxd, which is a little low for me. I've got this at 4 stars, along with 16% of users, and 20 people have this in their list of faves. Have you seen this before?
No, this is my first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I enjoyed it. I gave
good.
it 3 stars, but it had a lot of laughs. It was cheesy. It was corny.
Yeah.
I could maybe see it going to 4 one day. This is a perfect example. Like, if this movie was 100 minutes, it'd be like, what are you doing? 85, 80, what is this, 84, 85?
I think it's 84.
84, yeah. Like, that's perfect for this.
Yes. You don't need another minute
of
the movie. So I plucked a review from Matthew Christman, who didn't have a star rating, but he indicated that he liked this and said, "When will cocaine finally get an honorary Oscar for its contribution to the silver screen?"
Which it had a big one. It definitely has.
Yeah. So that's my first pick, Dead Heat. It's going on the shelf. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, I'm going to take us to the year of 1955. They knew how to make a short movie back then.
Yes.
This one clocks in 82 minutes. It's Godzilla Raids Again.
I found myself wondering, because I didn't know when... I mean, there have been Godzilla movies forever. I didn't know when this one was made. I wonder for 1955, 82 minutes?
82.
That's probably average, if not like a little longer than average, maybe for that time. I don't know
if it was longer than average, but I don't think it was. Yeah, I think that was, that's probably about average, maybe a little bit shorter. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 82 minutes was not out of the question.
Yeah.
Back then. This is filed under Crankin' It. Here's the back of the box. Two fishing scout pilots make a horrifying discovery when they encounter a second Godzilla alongside a new monster named Anguirus. Without the weapon that killed the original, authorities attempt to lure Godzilla away from the mainland. But Anguirus soon arrives and the two monsters make their way towards Osaka as Japan braces for tragedy. Tagline, a tremendous, astonishing story that rages across the nation of Japan. Which is a very 1955 tagline.
Oh my God.
Here it comes. It's a movie. Check it out.
Yep.
This is the second movie in the Godzilla franchise.
Really?
Second movie.
Oh, I didn't know that it was the second.
Yeah, it's an early one. So the original was a hit. And they're like, cool, we got to
Let's do it again.
We got to do this again, like right now. So they started putting together a sequel, and the original director was not available. He was doing something else, and they're like, well, we're not waiting. So they hired this guy, Motoyoshi Oda, who was more known for special effects B-movie type things, and he was very much considered like a less serious director than the first. And Godzilla in this movie is not the original Godzilla, like they said in the back of the box, which means that I guess Godzilla is a species as far as this movie's concerned.
Yeah.
I don't know how they deal with that in future installments. I was always under the impression it was just one
just one
thing.
One.
I'm currently working my way through the Godzilla series,
Yes.
so I'll report back. But
Okay.
I think they go back to like, it's the same one every time.
Yeah.
I think they eventually just get back to that. So one of the idiosyncrasies of Godzilla Raids Again is that some of the fighting scenes between Godzilla and Anguirus are sped up. And what happened was one of the cameramen had accidentally had the camera cranked at a slower speed, which means the visuals are like faster.
Yeah.
And usually in those kinds of scenes, especially with like these two giant monsters, you would actually overcrank it to slow it down to make them seem like
They're moving. Yeah.
so they're lumbering and big and strong or whatever. And this kind of gives it like a Three Stooges quality, I thought. If you remember how like this Three Stooges, like it just seemed like they were just a little bit faster when they were doing some things.
Yeah.
So and then some of the action scenes are shot at normal speed. So what happened was the director found out that like this camera was doing it at the wrong speed, and he was just like, "Oh, that's fine." He's like, "That's just how the movie's going to look now."
Right.
Where it's going to be like one speed sometimes, a different speed other times.
He's probably thinking someday this is going to be on a podcast about movies under 85 minutes, and if we make it real speed, it might not.
That's what I was going to say.
Meet the runtime.
Like if all of that was at the proper speed, there's a very good chance this movie would not qualify for this topic.
Yes, accurate.
They did release an Americanized version of this movie that's only 78 minutes.
Wow.
So I mean, they had no problem making short ass movies back then.
I can't believe they looked at this and thought, well, there's definitely 4 minutes that need to come out.
Well, I think what they normally do in those situations is they hire some American actors to like do some scenes that like fit in other ways, and then they try to make the story like work around that. So it's not necessarily they're cutting stuff out. They're just like making an entirely different movie,
Right.
with most of the footage. The rubber suits here are like very rubber suity. The close-up shots of the monsters are done with hand puppets. And there's the miniaturized cities and vehicles like army tanks and missiles and bombs. Like I don't know if how familiar you or our customers are with Godzilla movies, but like that's a hallmark. Like they're basically filming toys in these action scenes.
Yeah, I am not well versed in the Godzilla saga, but yes, I did know that.
Yes. The human drama that's attached to all this monster stuff, I think, is like fairly corny. But like everything put together for me just comes off so like cheesy and cheap. But I found it like so funny and charming in a way. All of its flaws are like the reasons I enjoyed it so much, which I think like the 82-minute runtime is something that helps with that.
Yeah.
So I went to Letterboxd and was surprised to find out that it's rated 2.7 on Letterboxd. Like it's considered like one of the worst Godzilla movies, I guess. Like it's generally considered like bad. But I disagree. I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah. I mean, most recently I had seen Godzilla -1.
Yeah.
And as much as I enjoyed that, and I mean, it was critically acclaimed. It's a great just return to form for the Godzilla franchise. But boy, it felt too long to me. And so it's nice to watch a Godzilla movie that was just
nice and short,
fast-paced.
Monsters fighting each other.
Yeah.
Wrestling.
And yeah, as soon as I knew it was like this was like an old Godzilla movie, nothing bothered me. And so
I think, I don't know, maybe it's just like Godzilla traditionalists or something. I don't really know. I was thrown off. I went to Letterboxd, it said 2.7. I'm like, whoa. Like, I started questioning my own judgment. I was like, I'm just about to hit the 4-star button here, and I find out it's 2.7. I'm like, did I miss something? But I guess, I don't know. I don't know what it is. But I disagree with the 2.7. I have it at 4. 13 people have it in their four favorites. 5% agree with my 4-star rating, including Audrey Farnsworth, who wrote this review. Godzilla falls into a lot of buildings in this. In fact, I feel like that's sort of his main thing. Buildings are being crashed very much in this film, and we are seeing it. We are seeing it happen. So I'm putting Godzilla Raids Again on the staff recommendation shelf this week for under 85 minutes 2.
Yeah, so I have this at 3 stars.
I know you're not really like a Godzilla guy.
I want to be. But I don't know. It just hasn't really captured me the way some long-running sagas have, and I don't know why that is. I enjoyed this.
Yeah.
With so many movies in the Godzilla franchise, I don't know that I would think to myself, well, I got to go back to Raids again.
Right.
Before literally any of the I almost think I would probably just like reach my hand into the Godzilla grab bag and be fine with whatever I pulled out. But yeah, this was a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up with Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
And they had a couple old Godzillas on that, and the Gamera movies, and maybe even a couple other dumb monster movies. And so guys dressing up in like rubber suits and fighting with like toy tanks, like shooting fake missiles at each other. Like, I'm in. Like, this is what I want. And this movie, like, is almost, it feels like it's almost a take on that, being like, let's do and even though it was like the second one, like, they're not doing a parody of anything. The director of this just like, this is the kind of movie he made. You know?
Right.
So I really dug it. So it's going on the shelf.
Yeah, no, this was fun. I will never turn down the opportunity to watch a Godzilla movie. So, great pick. All right, for my second pick, I'm going back to 2007, and this is from the Dorks section of the store. And my second pick is King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters. So, back of the box here. When middle school science teacher Steve Wiebe attempts to break the world record for the arcade classic Donkey Kong, he enters a strange and fiercely competitive subculture of retro gaming. Standing in his way is Billy Mitchell, the long-reigning champion, whose larger-than-life persona and loyal supporters of Twin Galaxies make the pursuit of the record feel less like a hobby and more like a battle. Tagline I do not get. Don't get chumpatized.
What?
Yeah,
I'm trying to think. Does that have something to do with the ape thing? What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Is that something Billy Mitchell says?
Maybe.
It's got to be. It's got to be.
It
something
has to be.
Yeah, I don't remember it.
It's a head scratcher. But when I say that this comes from the Dorks section of the store, I don't want to come across like I'm suggesting that anyone who plays video games is a dork, because I play video games. I love video games. Yeah. But these people, most of the people in this movie,
they're dorks.
They're dorks. And that was something that really stood out to me, because this comes from 2007, so just under 20 years ago, and it was amazing to me how just the public perception of video games has changed from when this was made to today, where it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Everyone plays video games in some capacity, whether it's Candy Crush or Grand Theft Auto 6, which is
also like I was going to say what's cool about these guys, but like but what's cool about this is that there were very advanced video games in 2007.
Oh, yeah.
Like, these people are committed to the old stuff, which
Yes.
is like, so they're dorks, but they're also like nerds. I mean that complimentary.
Yes, 100%. So this is directed by Seth Gordon. It is a documentary, and it plays like a perfectly structured underdog sports movie. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like that's it's pulling on all the same strings. The arena here is an arcade, and that's really what separates it from the sports genre. But yeah, we do follow Steve Wiebe, who's this unassuming normal guy who just happens to have a knack for Donkey Kong and attempts to dethrone legendary gamer Billy Mitchell. And begins as like a quirky look into this niche hobby and evolves into this dramatic portrait of competition, ego, and obsession. And at the center of it all is Twin Galaxies, which is an organization that Billy himself is very closely attached to, but they are responsible for verifying classic arcade records, and they're more or less like the gatekeeper to
Self-appointed.
self-appointed, the gatekeeper to this tiny universe.
You
And-
could just, when there's no one else around, you can just do that.
oh yeah,
You
yeah.
couldn't do that now.
No, certainly not. And this could have been a novelty documentary, but instead it really becomes a character study into ambition and rivalry. In fact, the director set out to just make a documentary about retro gaming, but discovered this rivalry emerging in real time, and
They probably
then
were like,
pivoted.
holy shit, I can't believe we're here for this.
Yes. And you almost, I mean, knowing that after the fact, you can look back at some of the things that we hear Billy Mitchell say.
Right.
And you think to yourself, why would he say that knowing what's about to unfold? And then it starts to make sense if this started out as something different.
It's also there's not a lot of these types of documentaries now.
No.
Nowadays, a documentary, like if it's not just like straight up paid for by the person it's about or whatever, it's just a lot of most documentaries now, it seems like, are archival and stuff.
Yeah.
This is like the classic era of like people with cameras documenting some shit and then finding a story within that process. And
Yes.
that's a really expensive process where it's so much easier to just take like clips of old TV shows and throw them,
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it is happening to some extent, but it doesn't feel like it.
If it is happening, it's happening in the form of Netflix documentaries that are released 6 months after something is in the news, and they bring together, and that's not even exactly the same as what you're saying.
Those usually end up like talking head type stuff.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Like true crime or whatever.
Yep.
But like this is like this and Hoop Dreams, and like there's just all these documentaries that happened in this window of time that was like just people with cameras documenting and like planning to do one thing and then being witness to something that happened, going like, holy shit, this is what the movie's
This is our
about.
story.
Yeah.
So this premiered at Sundance in 2007. Audiences really responded strongly to it. It did not do well at all in theaters, but it got a lot of traction when it was released to video and streaming. So this is the movie I was referring to when I said I could have used a little bit more, because the conclusion to this narrative ends with basically like an art card describing what happens after the camera stopped rolling, and it's a satisfying ending, but
Yeah.
you almost wish you would have seen it. And then, now, this was released in 2007. In the years following this, there was some crazy shit that happened. Like, Billy Mitchell's scores were eventually, like, vacated by Twin Galaxies
Really?
because he was caught using an emulator instead of an arcade cabinet, and he had, like, a modified joystick in order to achieve his scores. And they were like, well, that's
Yeah.
patently against the rules. And yeah, you know, other people, obviously video gaming really took off in a big way, and other people have come in and like smashed these records. But Steve Wiebe has stayed busy. He went on to release a Christian music album called King of Song.
Okay.
Yeah. But why did I choose this? I as I said before, I'm fascinated by how the public perception of video games has changed. But yeah, when you get this peek into this community from 2007, it really feels like there's this fringe group of people who are obsessed over decades-old machines and these small conventions. And I mean, most of the people connected to Twin Galaxies still feel like they're part of a very small club.
Yeah.
And, except for Steve Wiebe, who's the normal one. And the drama ends up being really real between him and Billy Mitchell. The characters are really stupendous, in spite of the fact that they're not fictional,
I mean, to the extent you're like, how did they find these people?
Yeah.
Billy Mitchell, especially, you're like, how is this guy a real fucking villain? He's like a real villain.
He is a real villain.
And this does what all great documentaries do, or not all great, many great documentaries do, is they investigate like a subculture and get inside that subculture. And within this subculture, this guy is a fucking monster.
Oh, he
You
is.
know what I mean?
He is.
It's crazy how they like got all of this.
Yeah.
And then especially, I didn't even know what that happened afterwards.
Yeah.
This is not the movie that I said I need more of this. Although I would love to see a sequel.
Yeah.
To see what like happened with all these people. This isn't the one that I was talking about.
Interesting.
But, this is like easily like one of the better documentaries ever.
I really love what they're doing here. And, we've talked before about when the filmmakers inject themselves and seem to editorialize what they're shooting. And I don't feel like that's happening. But I do think that these filmmakers realize how strange some of these guys are. And there's some stuff that they capture that amounts to B-roll that speaks volumes about these people.
Yeah.
They're talking about the referee, who is a character in and of himself. and I think they're at one point they're making the case that he's just very buttoned up about what he does, and that's being delivered over footage of him chasing a paper bag across his lawn. Or a plastic bag, like a grocery bag. And it's just, there's some really smart decisions that are made.
Yeah.
As it relates
These are very human people. Let's
Yeah,
put it
they
that
are.
way.
They are.
Even Billy Mitchell, you know what I mean? Like, he's a very human villain.
I agree.
You can see like what he's doing and how the gears in his head are turning. You're like, this fucking asshole. You see all the tricks.
Oh,
you know what
all
I mean?
of them. Yeah.
And it's so fascinating to watch all of it,
And for as confident as he comes across, the whole segment near the end casts a spotlight on just how fragile that ego is.
Yeah.
And
the fact that he would cheat at all this shit too, and then be like,
exactly.
after being so strident about sticking to the rules, even within this movie, where he's like, no, you have to do it in person. Then he's like, well, here's a videotape.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we talking about here? Like, you literally said 5 minutes ago you have to do it in person, and now you're gonna like show up everybody with a videotape.
And he has these disciples that are just blind to the hypocrisy. But
I think like that's what's great about the end of this movie. They're like, come on, man.
Yeah,
Like
they turned a
they're
corner.
like, what are you doing? Like, you lost.
yes.
And he won't admit it.
So this has some great music to it. It's a fantastic underdog story and a runtime that moves very quickly. All of it together makes for a really entertaining documentary. I mentioned that the box office was low. It ended up being under $1 million. It was 790,000 worldwide. But this averages exactly a 4.0 on Letterboxd, and that's where I've got it. 199 users have this among their 4 favorites.
Me too.
Oh, nice. You have it. Yeah. Yeah. Good. Had you seen this before?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This was kind of in that golden age of Netflix red envelope documentaries.
Yeah.
Where they just seemed like there were like a couple a year that were just like outstanding, and this is one of them.
For sure. So I plucked a review from Jeff, just Jeff, and he said, the real hero here is Steve Wiebe's wife. You got to give her a lot of credit. She puts up with a lot. So that's my second pick, King of Kong, Fistful of Quarters, for under 85 minutes.
All right, I'm going to take us to the year of 1974.
Okay.
The movie is Dark Star. 83 minutes.
Ooh.
This is filed under Goofballs in Space. Here's the back of the box. A group of scientists are sent on a mission to destroy unstable planets. 20 years into the mission, They have to battle their alien mascot as well as a, quote, sensitive and intelligent bombing device that starts to question the meaning of its existence. Kind of clunky.
A little bit, but
Clunky like the space equipment, I guess.
sure.
Tagline, bombed out in space with a spaced out bomb. Which is funny.
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah, I'm there for it.
I didn't understand it until I saw the movie.
Right.
I thought it was like, are they talking about the fact that this movie's gonna bomb? Like I didn't quite get it. But after you see the movie, it
makes
more
sense.
This is John Carpenter's directorial debut, co-written with Dan O'Bannon, who's also the star, and he's mostly known as the writer of Alien.
Yes.
So this started out as a student film. They were at USC in like 1970 or 71. And they raised some money. And after that version was finished, it was like 1972. And it was about 45 minutes. It's still, I guess, technically a student film at that point.
Yeah.
The second version of this movie, after they like did some fundraising and then did some more shooting, it was 90 minutes, closer to 90. And then they sent it out to people. And a distributor picked it up and was like, cool, I want to put this movie out, but you got to cut 30 minutes out of it and shoot some more stuff.
Okay.
And they were like, all right, I guess we'll do that too. Because they wanted to make it more marketable and mainstream. I think they also wanted to make it like less R-rated. I guess G-rated was the other option back then.
Oh, yeah.
And so they had to put in a bunch of additional footage. And so we eventually ended up with this 83-minute runtime. So it was not apparent to a lot of audiences, but that this was a comedy.
No, yeah, I think that people. I even have talked to people who treat this as just a science fiction film, not a.
I mean, on the Blu-ray copy we have, there's a letter at the beginning from Dan O'Bannon that says like, hey, like most people didn't know this was a comedy. I'm the writer of the movie and the star. Like I'm here to tell you, like it was a comedy. So like, please at least like. Try to treat it that way. This is a very cynical and deranged comedy. Mm-hmm. It's probably a little bit too subtle for audiences, I think, for like mainstream audiences.
Do you think that's at all due to the quote unquote baggage associated with John Carpenter's name being attached to this as director? Because
people go back to it and they're like, well, it must be a horror movie?
Yeah. I think that
the guy John Carpenter and the guy from Aliens.
Yeah,
John Carpenter's great with economical filmmaking. Like he tells his story. He's in and out. He's not giving a lot of extra information. 83 minutes is probably his shortest movie, although I'm not sure about that. Yeah. But yeah, he very rarely pushes the runtime over 100.
Right.
He's sometimes gotten close to 2 hours, but like he's very economical with his runtime.
Yeah.
This is very much a parody of 2001. I think like O'Bannon, I think he even said like when people didn't get this movie, he put it out, these guys in space, he's like, people didn't get it. They didn't know it was a comedy. And he was like, fuck it. I'll just make it a horror movie, So that's how he wrote Alien. Cause it's a very similar story. It's like,
it is.
People, these aren't like scientists, right? Like these are dirtbag space bros. They got a job doing some shit, and they're out there doing a job. They're basically like wildcatters or something.
You can see the DNA for Alien.
Yeah.
Through and through.
There are no lofty ambitions in these guys. These guys are trying to do a job and get back, at some point. This movie is just like not afraid to get weird. I don't think everything works. I think for a short movie, it does kind of feel badly paced.
Yeah. I agree.
But you can kind of put up with that at 82 minutes.
Yeah.
But
even
the
bad pacing doesn't overstay its welcome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Apparently, in one of the versions of this movie where it was longer or shorter, who knows? There was like a very extended sequence where the guys were just sleeping while the computer was talking, and they didn't do anything for like 3 minutes. And somebody was like, "This is a little too subtle. I don't think people are going to get this." But I think most of the satire is pretty right on.
Yeah.
Maybe too relevant for modern times.
Maybe.
A lot of this movie involves just arguing with an AI that like just doesn't fucking get it.
Right.
You know, like computers that just don't fucking get it. Like, why aren't you getting this? You know, it's at one point there's two AIs who are just fighting with each other. One of which is a bomb that has a personality.
Right.
There's also a moment towards the end where the ship's main computer is just like, you know, there's the whole thing's about to explode. Everyone's going to die. And the computer that runs the entire ship and is the interface that they all deal with is just like, well, sorry guys, like I can't help you. Like the ship's just going to explode now. Like I've done all I can. Good luck. And it's just like, yeah, that kind of feels like a lot of our relationship to technology now.
I mean, I honestly think there's probably never been a better time to dive into this in a world where, you know, people are recording video of ChatGPT not knowing how to spell strawberry or being incapable of knowing what a dolphin emoji is. Like this actually feels quite relevant.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's an extremely dark idea that also is like, wow, that really hits home.
Uh-huh.
You know? But I love the lo-fi handmade feel to this. Yeah. Like I said, not perfect, but it's a movie you can tell people made. You know? And it does have a little bit of the student film vibe to it.
Yeah.
That's part of it. You know, when you make a movie for like $50,000, even if it's 1974, like it's going to feel cheap. But that's part of its charm.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back to how old I was when I first saw this, because it was after seeing Halloween and really falling in love with The Thing. And of course, I thought to myself, well, I've got to see John Carpenter's first movie. And I remember having watched this and thinking to myself, huh, okay.
Yeah.
But that's that doesn't take anything away from what does work here, and it's fun.
So Dark Star is rated 3.1 overall on Letterboxd. 144 people have it in their 4 favorites. 31% agree with my 3-star rating.
As do I.
Including Ashley Pradella, who says in her review, I truly cannot believe how incompetent all these people were at their jobs. Which they were.
They were. Yeah. Well, I mean, never mad about John Carpenter. John has to be near the top as it relates to entries onto the staff recommendation shelf.
I'm trying to get as many as I can up there.
Yeah. I know we've done at least, this is probably the 5th.
I don't think we've had Halloween on the shelf yet.
No.
Am I right about that?
No, we haven't. But yeah, he's been up there many a time, and I'm sure this won't be the last, but
it will not.
Great to go back to his first movie.
Yeah, so I'm putting in on the staff recommendation shelf for Under 85 Minutes 2.
Love that. All right. I'm going to 2004 from the Why Is This Movie Called This section of the store. and and my final pick is District B13. Here's the back of the box. Set in the ghettos of Paris in 2010, an undercover cop and ex-thug try to infiltrate a gang in order to defuse a neutron bomb. Tagline, welcome to District B13, welcome to the future, which is dog shit.
Wow, that's bad.
Yeah.
Indefensible.
Just a horrible, horrible tagline. So this is directed by a guy named Pierre Morel, but perhaps more importantly, it's produced by Luc Besson, and feels like his fingerprints are all over this.
Makes sense.
Yeah. This is a kinetic French action film that maybe either helped introduce people to parkour or perhaps was riding on the coattails of the month that parkour was, part of the vernacular.
Right. When everybody found out what it was.
Yeah. But yeah, it stars a guy named David Bell, who is apparently one of the founders of parkour. He's our character Leto, and he's trying to protect his neighborhood from criminal control. There's this strange fictional post-apocalyptic almost storyline here where parts of Paris have been cordoned off and there's just like no laws there.
Yeah,
and
it's not really explained, but that's
not
the general idea.
And it's not even really like relevant. I don't know.
It's like they've been ghettoized, essentially.
Yeah, they've been ghettoized. Yeah, and Leto teams up with an undercover cop who has some martial arts prowess. And together they navigate a city district that's been completely abandoned by law enforcement and sealed off by the government in order to defuse a bomb and rescue a sister. So, like I said, this was produced and co-written by Luc Besson, but David Bell does nearly all of his own stunts in this, and that makes sense given that this is billing itself as a parkour action movie. Yeah. Incidentally, Peter Morrell would go on to direct Taken. So he's the guy behind the first Taken movie. Yeah. Those are very different movies, but there's still some stripped down action sensibilities in each of them. A lot of these action scenes were shot using long takes and minimal editing, which is great. You know, we're used to that now because of movies like the John Wick films and The Raid, but this was actually doing it earlier than those. And
you almost have to.
You have to.
Because parkour, you don't, like, if you edit it, you're like, well, what did I just watch? Like,
right.
You have to watch them put their lives in danger. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah, agree. Yeah, it was almost like an accidental benefit to the movie that you had to shoot it in a very particular way. So this was my first time watching it, and I went into this expecting a parkour movie, just where nonstop parkour. And there is definitely parkour here, but what surprised me is that there's actually... This is more like, I don't know, The Raid than it is a little bit of
Lock, Stock,
yeah,
Smoking Barrels.
Yeah, it's got some early 2000s energy to it. Maybe almost some Tony Scott Domino era. A little energy.
Bit, yeah.
But yeah, the parkour ends up becoming more of a tool within the action than really the entire plot of the movie. But I think the fights are pretty great. Stunts are incredible, and because so much of this is practical, there's a lot of physicality and authenticity to what you're seeing. So the two leads here, I think, have some pretty great chemistry. And at the end of the day, I didn't expect this to be good in the way that it ended up being. And you know, it does not overstay its welcome. So in spite of some modest box office performance, this ended up becoming a bit of a cult hit and averages a 3.4, which is probably about right. For me, this comes in at 3 stars on the first watch. Yeah. But I'll return to it. It might move up in the future.
I've got it at 3. It's a 3-star movie, I think.
Yeah. It was fun, but nothing remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one that I was like, man, I would have loved like 10 more minutes of parkour.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
10 more minutes, yes.
Yeah, the parkour is fucking fun to watch.
It is.
I wasn't like completely on board with all the other parts of the story. The action was good. The parkour was good. I really would have liked 10 more minutes of parkour. I understand why it doesn't exist, because like parkour is crazy.
It is.
Like there's not a safe way to do it. Like these people are doing stunts with no protections because like that's what parkour is.
Yeah.
And so like how much can you really put in a movie? Because like you have to keep doing. People keep having to jump off of buildings and stuff.
Right. And
like,
so
there's not a safety way to do this.
Yeah, you see them shirtless and with wearing tank tops, but that's for a reason, so that you know that there's nothing there. It's just these guys are doing what they're doing.
So I understand why it's not there. If there had been like 10 more minutes of like parkour action, it would have been like, it might have been a 4-star movie. Probably would have been a 4-star movie.
There's at least one sequel to this, which I might watch, but I could definitely see myself going back to this. I plucked a review from a voluptuous goat who said, this film was a lot more French than I remember. Which, sure, it's a French movie.
That's what they do in France.
Yes.
That's how they do it. I mean, this was, it's been a while since I've seen Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, but I do remember some parkour in that movie.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if there was like more or less. I'm guessing less than this one.
The Prince of Persia video games were like parkour the video game, and then they had to incorporate that.
Well, maybe we'll put Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time up on the shelf one day.
Well, Rob, I have not been timing us or anything, but it does look like we just covered 6 movies that all clock in under 85 minutes, and we did it in under 85 minutes.
For sure.
Yes. Maybe there's something to this whole runtime thing that you've
That's what I've been saying, man.
advocating for. But the films going on this week's shelf include Jeffrey Epstein, Bad Pedophile, Dead Heat, Godzilla Raids Again, King of Kong, Dark Star, and District B13.
If you don't have time to stop into the store, you can visit us 24 hours a day at rewindvideopod.com. You can also find us on Letterboxd and Blue Sky, or send an email to rewindvideopod@gmail.com. And if you're a fan of the show, please rate, review, like, subscribe, and recommend it to all of your friends who love movies or are movie curious.
Yeah, dipping a toe.
Yeah.
Right.
What a great way to learn how to love movies.
Right.
The Rewind Video Podcast.
Actually,
we're here for you.
I even think that this would be the first episode to start with if perhaps your friend is somebody who's just watched a lot of TV and they're used to episodes.
Yes.
So well, here's something just a little longer than an episode.
Well, also, this is our most recent episode.
Right.
Because we're recording it right now.
Yes.
And I'm going to tell you right now, every episode we put out is always our best episode yet.
Indeed. Yeah. They just keep getting better.
It's a promise.
Well, we're going to do it again next week, and we're not returning to a theme, which is probably going to surprise people because word on the street is we're running out of themes. We are not.
There's a lot of rumors. I've been seeing a lot of rumors online.
Yeah. Yep.
Those rumors are not true. We have so many ideas for episodes.
Yeah. Reddit has been especially vocal lately about these guys are dried up. They have nothing else.
We're catching a lot of strays.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that. We have so many ideas.
We do. And next week is one of them. We're going to be talking about power. So obviously, movies about breaker boxes, the electric grid, utility bills.
So I'm going to have to change my selections.
As usual, we will have 6 movies to recommend, but if you're looking for something in the meantime, feel free to hit us up for a movie to watch.
Be kind, recommend.
Say